Hey, welcome, my little Tattle Tells. Welcome to your regular Monday Pursuit of Porsche recaps and rants. You guys, there is so much to discuss about this show. News was pouring in. I know you guys heard the storm drama. We're going to discuss that. We're going to talk about all the funny things that happened in the episode before it got dark. And we are going to have a nice kiki. And here to help us make sense of everything, we have the lovely Grace Report, Lailah Lynn, and of course, Up and Adam. How are you guys doing? First of all, Happy New Year's. You guys look absolutely refreshed and recharged. How's everybody's New Year's?
It was good. It was good. I had a good New Year. Happy New Year, you guys.
Happy New Year. 2022 is going to be, you know what's so funny is I was walking out of the gym the other day and I said to one of the trainers, I was like, 2022 is going to be so great. And here comes Jason slugging behind me and he goes, yeah, that's what we said last year. I'm like, okay, keep that energy in 2021. This is going to be a great year. I think for all of us, I can feel it. Guys, we have great interviews coming this year. We're going to have a lot of scandal, which is great for us, not maybe for them, but it'll be a good one.
Yes. It's definitely going to be a key. Okay, so you guys, let's address the elephant in the room, the storm in the building. If you guys were on Instagram Live, you would know last night after the show aired, Storm actually went on Instagram, right? Because there's new information coming out about this, but let me bring everybody that actually went to work and might not know. Let's bring them up to date on what's happening. Storm dropped pictures where she, accused Dennis of, she made her account private. She tried to delete some of the tweets. Thank God I screenshotted those tweets.
You're always screenshotting.
I know. Screenshotting's my life. When I look at something, I'm like, screenshot. So she screenshotted, I screenshotted, and she made a couple of crazy claims, horrible actually, right? And I'm going to get into why. Listen, nobody knows whether these claims are true or not. But the way Storm's approaching the situation and the new information that just came out today, it's all becoming very, very muddled. And it seems odd to me that nobody on her family side has come out to tweet support, to say anything, or to back her up. It has been largely silent about that. Now, what did she say? She said that they tried to get Dennis locked up in Mexico, but the police wouldn't arrest him. She said that Dennis is a Pedialyte bear, right? We're saying it for the algorithm. She actually called him the Pedialyte bear, right? But then she went on to say that Dennis has been harassing her since she was 18 or 19 years old, to which people said, are you talking about somebody else? Because granted, listen, I 100% believe, because I've had creepy bosses, that Dennis was a creepy boss that was harassing a young, pretty girl. Storm's gorgeous. I've had creepy bosses. However, something be saying you're creepy and being a Pedialyte bear, right? And that's why you guys have falling out. So people are like, did this happen when you were underage, or you talking about someone else? These are very, very serious accusations. And let's be real, they're accusations that people usually sue over. I know people are like, oh, some people said she's just using a term of art. I think she means sexually harassed, but there is a difference. And let's not forget those rumors about Dennis and how he loves animals. They are a little bit more than best friends. Do I believe them? No. However, the fact that they're still out there, it lets you know how when people say crazy things, whether or not they're true, they live on. Because sometimes you're just like, it's like my best friend, when I told her that, she said, what? And she said, I kind of believe it because that's too crazy for someone to make up. But again, maybe it is so crazy, it's someone to make up. She also said that Dennis assaulted her, right? And she showed 4 pictures. She is being blasted this morning. I'll put them up on the screen in a second, but she's being blasted this morning because apparently she was also assaulted, unfortunately, by her girlfriend in May. And then something else happened in 2000. When you look at the pictures, fans looked at the timestamps and the dates, and they literally said that 2 of the 4 pictures that she put out are from the earlier incident. And you can clearly see it's from the earlier incident. And you can clearly see on her Twitter before she locked it down, she put a timestamp on all 4 pictures from the earlier incident. And somehow 2 of those pictures made it into this new group. Again, who knows where the truth is? Everyone's trying to dig through, but everybody's very, very curious at the fact of, where's your support from Porsha? Since you are, this actually happened. Where's your support from your family? Where's your support from your friends? and I want to get you guys to weigh in if you guys know anything about it. For myself, I think Storm is a young girl. I think that maybe Dennis was creepy to her. I hope nothing else like that happened. But if it did, put Dennis under the jail, right? But I do think also, for whatever reason, she seems to me as someone that seems like it's not enough just to say what happened to her. And she needs to kind of amplify it because people are like, oh, that wasn't anything. And she's amplifying it. But when it comes to actual facts and producing, I don't know. What's your guys' take on this?
Can you just tell me what the animals thing was real quick?
Well, listen, this is pure innuendo. There was a rumor going around that Dennis, I don't even repeat it because I don't know if it's true. I hope
Are you talking about like the is it gross things with animals? Is that what?
Yeah, there were rumors that he liked to do gross things with animals. You guys, listen to me. I feel bad for even saying that. These rumors they are unfounded. They have not been true. People just say stuff. So please don't try to be like, oh, I heard. It's not that. But what I'm saying is, in this world, people can say really crazy things about you. And with having no proof, it lives on in the hearts and souls of men. So Storm went on live and she said, listen, if Dennis, she said that the reason she didn't sue Dennis is because she doesn't have money for a lawyer. And I thought that was odd that your cousin or Bravo or even a pro bono lawyer wouldn't literally represent you, or you couldn't use some type of reason. But that said, who knows how close her and Porsha really are, right? And she did say that if Dennis wants to sue her for defamation, it can. Dom got on her Instagram last night. Storm was drunk as a skunk. She kept saying, confusing between Dennis sexually harassing her, and she actually said Dennis sexually assaulted her. Yeah. She kept confusing those two terms, and then she said text messages. So she was drunk. So I don't want to make it seem like she was just talking. There was intoxication. And Dom got on Instagram Live and literally tried to talk her down and said, you can't say this. I know you can say what you want, but now that you put this out in the public sphere, now he can respond the way he wants. And he was basically telling her, like, girl, you are going into lawsuit territory, especially with the Pedialyte Bear stuff. Like, you are going into lawsuit territory. You need to, like, actually pull it back. So it's sick that this episode took such a dark turn. Just such a dark turn. But honestly, yeah. Go on. So you guys jump in. I'm sorry.
As far as taking a dark turn, I feel like that's what Porsha has done, like her story arc on Real Housewives of Atlanta. It started off light and fun, and that's what she does. She takes a dark turn. Like, we'll never forget, I believe it was season 9 with Candy and those allegations. Like, that's what happened with Porsha. Unfortunately, unfortunately, that's what happened. So it's not surprising. As far as Storm, it could have happened. Like you said, we've all had creepy bosses, and I could see Dennis being a creepy boss. He was saying these comments about how he doesn't hire people, but then it sounded like he fired her. So it was you see some inconsistencies with Dennis. Also, the fact that Dennis was saying he threw Storm a birthday party and he was mad that Storm didn't acknowledge it. Like, you see, it's something going on there. So if Storm has receipts of Dennis flirting with her and trying to get with her, I wouldn't be surprised. I could see him doing that. I did notice that Storm does use sexual assault and sexual harassment interchangeably when they're really not interchangeable. So I want Storm to tell us exactly what happened. You know what I mean? Don't just be vague about us. Tell us exactly what happened. That's what I need. I need to see the fight to know, what happened as far as the scratches. But as far as the sexual stuff, I need her to describe, what did he do to you?
And she should give her rendition of the story sober. Because this is not something, like when you're talking about lawsuit territory too, you have to remember this man is still a businessman. What did he say last night? That he owns 11 different locations? Like, this is something where when things go out in the media, there might be a woman out there or, like a family out there who loves going to his hot dog restaurants, but that woman might be like, oh, wow, I've been through something like this. I'm no longer supporting this man's business.
I would never. If I knew somebody, I would never go to their establishment. I don't care if it's Chick-fil-A. I'm not going.
That's what I mean, just based off of these comments. So it really is like, if you are going to come out with these sort of allegations, and I don't want to take anything away from Storm, because like you said, even I, as a gay guy, have had creepy gay bosses who have like followed me around and they've been super inappropriate. And you know that exists, right? So I don't want to take anything away from her story, but when you're coming out with something like this, you need to put together, like, you need to come with the Monique Samuels binder. Like, come with that binder, have the facts, have the receipts, and be like, bam, here you go. This is what happened. This is my side of the story. But going on, being in your emotions and having like a drunken rant, I hate to say it, but it almost sort of diminishes the credibility a little bit because nobody can follow it. Like Lailah said, those two words are not interchangeable. So I'm stuck on this one.
Yeah.
And Grace, what about you?
I agree. You know, I feel like something did happen, but that Storm is not articulate enough or sober enough at the time to describe exactly what it is. Because like Lailah and Adam are saying, and yourself as well, Tisa, she's mixing between assault, harassment, and then of course she's putting, you know, Pedialyte Bear or whatever. And she's also claiming that she was 18 or 19, which does not fall under that. So like, these are all like different serious terms that she's throwing around, but she doesn't seem to understand what any of them mean. But
yeah.
No.
Yeah, and you got to know the term.
Yeah.
No, Grace, I agree with you. Words have power. When you're throwing around these type of things, it's like, were you hit? Were you assaulted? Were you attacked? It means something, right? It means something. And
you know what? Sorry, Tisa, but like my question now is like, well, if all of this happened, then why did Porsha ever get with Dennis, right? Like if this happened to your cousin and you're supposed to be frickin' frack with your cousin and she was like allegedly underage or something, why would you get with a man like that? Why would you procreate with a man like that? And why are you still after a man like that? Like, it's kind of weird.
Unless it was for your own financial gain and you saw that this person was financially stable and, you know, Porsha went into it with a Porsha state of mind. Like, it's about me. That didn't happen to me. Girl, be quiet. Like something like that. But, you know, it is so vague. It's like when Denise Richards from Beverly Hills, her daughter came out on a TikTok saying that she was in an abusive household. Now everybody ran with that and they're like, mentally abusive, physically abusive, emotionally abusive. Which one is it? Because there's a huge difference. I mean, they all suck, but there's a big difference between the three. So same thing here.
We need details. We didn't know exactly what happened.
And if you have the chutzpah to go on Instagram Live and be like, I'm going to mention it all, then you have to come with those details. You can't be that vague, completely diminish someone, their public figure, their business. And now who knows if this could be used against him in court for custody. You never know what can be said or how far this can go. You really have to back it up.
Well, I will say that you guys are my members. First of all, let me just read out. Thank you, M. Slate Bay, for the super chat. I appreciate it so much, you guys. And thank you, Rim, for the super sticker. Also, Dr. Payne Nestor, I'm watching on my phone. I don't know how I missed your message, but you said, love this panel and the live reviews. Storm is probably going to be served lawsuit paperwork this week. He's a businessman. He has to address it. I agree with that. I almost feel like, again, Storm's a young woman. She is used to not being heard. She feels like she has to add for people to take it seriously. When the truth is, Storm, you just saying you had a creepy boss was enough for everyone to be like, girl, I feel you. Now, I do want to say for Grace, you read my mind. I literally had a note saying, Dom said that Storm told everybody when Porsha started talking to Dennis that he was a creep and this and that. How, what you guys are saying, what type of person are you that you were just like, sounds good to me when you know that your cousin was talking trash about the type of person he is. Now, I do have a theory. I want you guys to actually see how it rolls off with you. Right?
Okay. I love Tisa's theories.
Listen, here's a theory, though. I think, right? The people that are on my members only live, and of course you guys as members know, because I think I mentioned it on the live, that Porsha was fighting with Dennis's mom, right? So the way the producer showed stuff, unless you knew what you were looking for, and you could see kind of like Mama Gina's 3 apples high and shorter than everyone. So Porsha kind of reached down to Mama Gina. Dennis went in to defend his mommy, right? Because who's going to sit there and let something happen to their mom? But unless you knew what you were looking for, the producer's edit looked like one thing certain. Porsha literally went off on Dennis and tried to, and punched him in his face, connected at least one time, and she was throwing punches like she was Evander Holyfield. It wasn't, oh, I hate you, get away from me. She was trying to take his head off. Years of rage and resentment boiled over. Porsha, whenever she is caught looking bad or when something's not going to be on her narrative, what does she do? She tries to get ahead of the narrative. And we've seen from her history, she creates some fantastical lie about being drugged, about being this, about being that. Porsha learned from Phaedra, okay, be a little bit more careful because it can come back. So what's better, hyping your young cousin up that really doesn't give a damn and doesn't know to keep her mouth shut and doesn't know this social media, doesn't know anything about this social media, and that she has like a fiery personality, and she has when you're 20, you don't give a damn. Someone's like, shh, you're gonna get in trouble. You're like, I don't care, you know, tagging people or whatever. So I think that Storm was hyped up by Porsha and used as a cat's paw, because I find it really interesting that Porsha did not gather her, take her under her wing and be like, no, this is how you make the accusations. This is how you do this. And I find it, as much as Porsha was trying to make Dennis look like a mass murderer last week, I find it odd that like she is just completely quiet about this, no support or anything. But what do you guys think about that?
It's interesting. It's juicy.
I think you're right too, though, Tisa. I think that, you know, you're dealing with somebody who, like, I feel like Storm isn't as fully aware of the public space. Like, obviously she knows what social media is, but now being on a TV show, not realizing that maybe there are more eyes on her and you can't be so reckless with your words. And Storm does come off, and this is nothing against Storm, so I'm not a Storm hater. She's stunning. Like, I think she's great, but she's so young and she has that young, I don't care attitude. She does come off like, at this point, she just wants to be heard. And you can tell, like, even asking Porsha, what side of the table are you sitting on? She looks up to Porsha. And I agree with Porsha's aunt. Like, I think that when she said, I feel like Storm thinks that her elder is Porsha. Like, that is the only elder at the table. And she plays off of that. So for Storm, she's going to get a big reality check. Because she's going to learn very quick into this journey. This could be a 1-season special, whatever it is, I don't know. But she's going to learn super quick into this journey. You can't just be reckless on social media, on a TV show, whatever it is. But I also agree. I feel like Porsha would easily put her cousin up as the pawn. Like, you go out there on the front lines, you take the brunt of it, I'll sit back and I'll look great, and then I'll coach you through it. I think that Porsha's trying to do that, and this all backfired. How many fights can you get in on TV or associated with the cameras around and you get a pass for it? But then we're talking about firing Candace and Monique. We're talking about, you know what I mean? Even though nobody got fired, how many times can it happen? This is crazy.
And she's not done. Apparently she's going to have another fight, the one where after she's crying and screaming and Simon is holding her down. It's like 6 times at that point. But to your point, Adam, it shows, like, and you as well, Tisa, it shows how dumb Porsha is at the end of the day, because Storm going on Instagram claiming that this guy had been harassing her since she was underage, allegedly, and doing all of these things, and that everybody knew. It makes people ask the question, well, why was Porsha with him? Why is she still obsessed with him? And then if it does come out, if Storm does turn on Porsha, because in this week's episode, we found out that they weren't even close before they filmed this special. So she comes out and says, you know what? F it. We're not even tight like that. This is just for TV. Porsha's the one that set me up if a lawsuit comes, because Porsha threw Phaedra under the bus that way. So why would Storm be above doing that to her? Which would make Porsha look even worse. And then we find out in this episode as well that for some reason, it wasn't explained, Porsha's the one who behind the scenes had Dennis fire her own cousin Londi from working with her. So just
that was shady as.
Right. I believe that too, though. I believe that.
I believe it too, because the look on Lottie's face, she looked like Memento. Like, she pieced everything together. Like, I was crying on the phone to you. Like, how'd you know these details? I believe it too. And the way Dennis dropped the bomb, because I'll say one thing we learned from this episode, he's really good at reading people. He's incredibly good at reading people. And that's why he's so funny, I think, because you can just tell. But even the way he literally at that table got everybody kind of on his side, and he even squashed things with Dom. We're going to talk about it in a second. But then when Dom came in with Porsha hyped Dom up, and Dom got really, really messy. And that's when the melee. I just never seen like dark toxicity play out on purpose. I kind of think this was the point of the show, because Dennis and Porsha and Simon didn't show up to anything except for when there was pain, arguments, screaming, yelling. And then the scenes that they weren't in, everybody's taking shots, everybody's laughing, everybody's meditating. So, but I'm sorry, Grace, continue your point. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, that was it.
Okay.
Well, let me just ask this, Grace, to your point, because I felt like in the preview when we saw Porsha fighting, because Grace, you mentioned another fight. When we saw Porsha fighting in the preview, I felt like she had on a different outfit than last night.
She
So there's
does. There was a
two
couple of fights. She fought with Dennis's mom. I already said this for a members only live. She fought with Dennis's mom 2 times. There was a little altercation they got in when they came back. Because don't forget, they didn't have that much footage. When all the fight and stuff happened and everybody left fine, then producers went 2 weeks after that and they had a lot of people do sit downs. That's why you see people just being like shady, not caring, and giving the real opinion of what's going on.
You know, somebody said in your live chat too, defamation, 1, will make Storm broke for the rest of her life. And 2, it's hard to prove defamation, which a defamation lawsuit is extremely hard to prove. Like us going on and talking about Porsha right now, Porsha can't sue you for saying you think she's a liar because, well, that's your opinion and this is your job. And you're not like going out here and really slamming her. You're giving your opinion. However, it's not that hard to prove defamation when you're coming out and making the allegations that Storm made. So for whoever that was in the live chat, this is not that hard of a defamation case to prove, especially if somebody screen grabbed the whole rant. It's very different.
Yes. Also, with private figures and public figures, private figures have a lower level for defamation than public figures. But again, when you are making criminal accusations, it's not hard to prove. And that's a weird thing when Storm says she doesn't have money for a lawyer. And I'm like, girl, it's a 7-year statute of limitations. You can actually, like what they're doing with the Tiny TI case, refer it to the DA, let them do the investigation, let them gather information, let them try them. And then once the case comes out, you just walk that victory, hopefully if you get it, into a civil court. And now they're only trying to say, okay, so what you said is true. Let's see how much money and damages you have. So, and also this puts to rest what people were saying about Porsha's family being paid really good to be on the show. Because again, what happened to the money you were paid? What you mean you or nobody in your family has money to defend you against someone that you said was a Pedialyte bear that has been doing all this stuff to you for years? And again, I hope to God Storm's telling the truth. And even if she's not, I do hope that everybody takes it easy on her because it seems like she is just a young, naive.
Wait a minute.
I'm serious.
For women.
I'm serious.
No, but that's not fair either. Listen,
it is.
I agree with take it easy on somebody who's crying out for help, but also we are at this point, when you cross into adulthood, you have to learn there are ramifications for your actions. Like I can't go out right now and throw out these criminal allegations against you, Lailah, and Grace report. And I understand that, you know, like I love how I say Grace report, like Grace, like that's like your full name. But I can't go in and do that and then say, oh, I'm 28, you know, I'm still in my 20s, I'm learning, and there not be any ramifications. Like you have to know that there for every action there's a reaction, and she has to learn. As much as I want to go easy on her, I understand it's a cry out, and hopefully these allegations in her, you know, defense are true. But if they're not true, you have to, somebody has to tell you this is not okay. This is somebody's business, their livelihood, how they're feeding Pilar.
True. And I've never, listen, in my life, I've never made like these type of things. But I do remember being in my early 20s and not having the, you know, how like, I was talking to my girlfriend and she made a joke. She's like, yeah, in college, like everybody was toxic, but then we all grew up and some people stayed toxic, right? I do remember just being early 20s, doing things, not understanding. Do I think that Storm should be like, okay, Storm, don't worry about it. But when I say I hope there's no ramifications, I hope this is something that is solved with Apollo. If she's not telling the truth, if she's telling the truth, Dennis deserves to have everything stuck to him, right? I will be the first one doing exposés on Dennis McKinley, right? However, if it's not true, I hope it can be solved with a heartfelt apology, counseling, and family love. I don't believe that certain mistakes deserve punishments for years. I think it should be something like you need to be scared and learn your lesson, but this should be a lesson taught in love. Because I think that what's making, if she is lying, what's making her act out is feeling unloved and unheard for so long in her life. And I think it's kind of double punishment for a victim where she literally felt like she had to do this to actually be heard. So again, I know I'm always taking, you know, I got a soft spot for like, you know, younger women, but I do just hope that this is something that can be solved internally with love from the family. And if she is lying, but
you know, it looks like too, she's trying to copy Porsha's method of like, even when Porsha's sister was sitting there telling her, Lauren, and she's like, you're not doing the work. And she's like telling her, and she's like, I am doing the work because I didn't meditate one time. And she's like, no, you're not doing the work. You're not showing up. And she's like, I wish my mom would have crossed that line and I was a product of divorce. I'm like, get out of here. My parents have been divorced 9 times. Like, it became a sport for me. I would have new family come in. I would tell them, this is my bedtime. You're here for 2 hours. Let's get through this. And now it's shaped me into who I am, but I'm not going on and being like, you don't understand. Mom's going to cross the threshold. No, my mom used to beat up my stepmoms. It was very different, but I'm not crying about it. It is what it is. It's an experience. And I feel like she tries to do the same thing. She plays off of experience. I mean, I get it. I don't know. I'm conflicted.
Grace, and also Lailah, what do you guys say to the point of the whole aspect about, my source has been saying that Porsha is actually, Dennis is trying to get full custody, right? Well, not full custody, but he's trying to get established custody. Because before that, it was just like, they had a good co-parenting relationship. Now that Simon is involved, it seems like for whatever reason, this relationship that even a couple of weeks ago she said was beautiful is now like complete trash. Dennis is trying to get full custody, and Porsha is trying to change the narrative from what we see on TV, which looks like she literally attacked this guy unprovoked.
I don't know what to think.
Oh. Yeah. It's just so messy. It's just so freaking I think it's good for Dennis. I'll say it's good for Dennis. He needs to have something in writing. I think all parents should have something in writing, whether you're on good terms or bad terms. It does help because terms change always, right? So it's smart of him. It's just so weird though, their situation. It's just so messy and complicated. And this is what happens when you kind of have a baby on like a one-night stand situation. Like these kinds of things are hard to navigate.
This is true. This is true. Princess Di said exactly, Adam, you're correct. She's taking a page out of Porsha's playbook, start crying and act like a victim to get empathy and avoid accountability. Okay. I think she is. Go on.
Let me just say this. Okay. Yes. So I've been in a position where I've technically, the legal term, like I've been in a situation where I've accused someone of sexual assault. Okay. And it's extremely hard to prove. And so maybe that is why I lean towards where even if she's putting 20 on 10, I do want to see what the 10 is. I do want to know exactly what it is, because it's extremely hard to prove that something happened to you if you don't have like footage. You know what I mean? If you weren't recording what they did to you, if there were no witnesses or the witnesses are their family members. You know what I mean? If you don't have anybody on your side, it's extremely hard to prove. So I know we're talking about Storm and how she's young and she doesn't, communicate well. She doesn't express herself well, and she may be exaggerating. But I just want to say that doesn't mean that there's not something there. I just want to say that first.
I agree with you. And that was actually really well put. Even if she's putting 20 on 10, let's see what the 10 is, because what I think, because Lailah, I think you got the same thing. The sense I got was, okay, there was definitely a creepy situation, and maybe being in those situations, I was able to kind of sense the truth. Like, I believe that happened. Everything else, I do hope that it's not true, even for Storm's sake, because how traumatic for your nieces, like this guy is in your family now, and like that's super, super dark and super traumatic. You guys, let's actually take things to a bit of a lighter angle and talk about the episode. There were some funny things in this episode. I do see you guys in the chat asking me to put the pictures up. I'll put a link to Storm's Twitter, but you guys, I'm not putting, and I'm going to think about that. I'm not going to circulate. This is not like SVU. I'm not putting pictures of somebody boxed up on the screen for us to pick apart no, there's enough evidence out there, this and that. The allegations are getting more and more and more serious. So, and we're about to be lighthearted. So I don't want to change between a very, very serious tone and like start talking crap, making jokes about Simon acting like every meal on Porsche Family Matters is his last meal, so we'll see. Sometimes a robust appetite,
I love the sneak in shade.
Let me ask you, and we'll do it from Grace to Lailah to Adam. What was your favorite part of this episode? And I want to know, how are you guys enjoying it? Would you be open to seeing a wedding special or a season 2? But let me hear from you guys go in that order. What do you, because I want to get your honest opinions, because you guys kind of have your pulse on pop culture. What do you think? Grace?
We're starting at Lailah, right? Or
no,
me?
No, we're gonna do you, then Lailah, then Adam.
Oh, me. Okay. I had a lot. I'm looking at my notes right now. That's why. One of my favorite parts was when Dennis was trying to blame that guy. I forget, the assistant Dom, for all of his problems with Porsha. And then the guy said, I didn't like the terms that he used. It was very degrading towards women. But he basically told him, listen, like, if you weren't cheating on this woman, you would still have her. You wouldn't have lost her. And Simon wouldn't have her. And Dennis had nothing to respond to that. I thought that was hilarious. I loved it. That was my thing. And yes, I would watch a season 2. And I would also watch the wedding special because it's such a delusional relationship. It's just so fun to watch for that reason.
My favorite part was when they were taking shots, the tequila, and they looked like they had a pink tequila. And I don't know if you noticed when they poured it out, the tequila actually looked pink. Did y'all notice that? Yeah, so I thought that was so cute. Like, I want to see what tequila that was. So that was my favorite part, the tequila shots. And when Dennis was telling Londi that Porsha's the one that wanted her fired, I love that part as well.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, that has to be the same thing with me, too. I think my favorite part, like, I love the Dom situation and letting him know, wait a minute, you're deflecting the heck out of this. You're saying I'm the reason that you got caught. You got caught because you were doing shady stuff. This is on you. And then when Londi, like, I believe maybe it was Lailah who said it earlier, when it clicked in her head, when she started piecing it together and she's like, wait a minute. So you're the reason I got fired? I was like, hold on. There's actually, if you look at this episode, there's a lot of different moving parts, but 100% I would continue to watch. And I would definitely, I'm always here for any housewives special with a wedding or a marriage, because they're always going to do it way over the top. It's going to be this opulent wedding where it's going to be like doves are flying out as soon as you say I do. Like, yes, I'll see it, but I also agree with Grace. This is delusional. So I'll watch it. Delusional.
We'll watch it, definitely. I am under the thing that if I was Porsha, I would be afraid to get a wedding special, because that kind of seems to be the kiss of death in Bravo. You look at Cynthia and Mike Hill, it seems like when you're cresting, right, and you've been an OG, when OGs get wedding specials, not early in the game, but later in the game, after that, you hear, okay, well, they're happy. We've wrapped up their storyline, and they move on to something else. So I'm just curious about if she does get the 2-hour spinoff, which I'm looking forward to. I think, to all you guys' point, it is going to be a spectacle. It is going to be over top. It is going to be full of fake smiles and fake pictures and face-tuned pictures on her boyfriend. I think it's just going to be ridiculous. And it's kind of like watching, like, the beginning of the end. But, and maybe it is true love and I'm being cynical, and God bless their union. Well, I'm just saying, I would be a little bit worried. Now, how about this? I got to ask you guys, what did you think of the point of Porsha and Lauren and their sit down? Because I was of two minds, right? Lauren looked really upset, right? Porsha looked really upset. And Lauren was holding her accountable on reality TV. And I was like, on one hand, Lauren's giving us what we want. On the other hand, was she wrong for actually like putting Porsha on blast on national TV, talking about you're not fixed and you're not doing the work, and I see you're not doing the work? How do you guys feel about that?
I felt like it was about time. I felt like she was completely right about that, because it's like Portia's using her. Lauren is into this meditation and crystals and things like that. So Portia's using that for the storyline, for the family vacation. We're going to meditate and we're going to heal and do all of this stuff. But then when she actually sits down and talks to Lauren, you can see that Porsha she's not in agreement with it. Like, she's saying, I don't have the tools. And Lauren is trying to tell her, I gave you the tools, but you could tell Porsha doesn't believe in those tools. So it made it obvious that Porsha is using her sister and that she doesn't actually respect what Lauren believes in.
That's a good point.
I completely agree.
I completely agree with that too. And I think too, Porsha is so used to everybody kind of falling behind her and falling in line. And we've seen Lauren we've known Lauren as long as we've known Porsha. We just haven't known about her as much, but she's always kind of put to the wayside. She's like the sister who's the assistant, like she's not as glamorous. And, I feel bad for Lauren. And the fact that Lauren's finally finding her voice, one, it wouldn't be the same show without that, because we need that kind of clapback and challenging. We need those challenging moments. And two, you could tell where Porsha is authentically like, oh, excuse me? That's the route you're going to go?
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to ask, you know, and I know it's not my panel, but Tisa and Lailah and Grace too, I had a question because I thought about this last night and Jason and I were watching this together and there was a statement that was made and it really kind of based off of my interview with Fallon and some of the things that she said, it made me think about it when, you know, Dennis said, I'm not even sure if Simon doesn't look at Porsha as a celebrity, as just a celebrity. Like if he even knows who the real Porsha is or if he's enamored by her. And I was thinking, oh, that's probably true. He knows celebrity Porsha. He's excited. There's a public figure. There's cameras around. Look what I'm doing now. I have this trophy wife, so to speak. Like it made me think, is there really a genuine connection? Because why are you guys sliding into each other's DMs, whoever did it? Is it because you really wanted to console each other? Or is it because there's Rolls Royces, big mansions, you know, and an estate? It makes too many question marks for me.
I feel like everything he throws out applies to him too. Like he knocked her up in like 8 or 9 days or something. Okay. So did he know Porsha really before he knocked her up? He even admitted himself, like, if I weren't rich or whatever, she would have never looked at me twice. So like, do they even know each other? Like, I don't know. I feel like that applied to him too. It kind of made me laugh to myself in that respect. And then like ever since he got with her, he immediately off her back started promoting his shows and his hot dogs and stuff like that on RHOA. He's promoting his lounges and his hot dog stuff on the show too. He wanted Porsha to do some kind of peach juice TV, like Netflix, you know, live stream in the house stuff. Like he was really trying to like manage her and make a career off of her and their relationship. So to me, it was projection a little bit. Not that Simon isn't a groupie, but Dennis kind of is too.
I'm glad you mentioned that. He did, from my understanding, he had like Peach Juice TV or something to that effect, Peach Tea or something like that. And it was supposed to be like them live streaming. So he was the same way. He looked at Porsha as a celebrity. From my understanding, I guess Bravo shut it down. It was too much, you know, like Real Housewives of Atlanta. But he looked at her the same way. And that's why I was glad that they mentioned, you know, you say that she let, you know, Simon be intimate with her in 2 days. She let you be intimate in 1. You know what I mean? So you're the same. You look at her the same. You look at her as a celebrity as well. And you look at how you can benefit from your relationship with her.
See, I want to play devil's advocate on that too, though, because if I weren't in a relationship with Jason and like my mind is always business, and I'm always thinking about next moves and stuff. If I got with somebody who had a certain level of public figure, I think by default, I would want to be, or at least if they were okay with it, involved in some capacity. Like, oh, you have a well-oiled machine. What can I do to, you know, encourage and help and add to what you have already going on if you'll let me be a part of it? Because I would kind of be the same in that respect. But I know you ladies are more well-versed in, you know, what's going on with this too, because you guys are always spilling the tea. Did I miss something really quick? Was Dennis involved in Go Naked Hair?
Well, let me just actually interrupt really quick. I'll answer that question, but let me just say, Princess Di, she says, I think people don't realize Dennis wasn't cheating with the girl at the time. Dawn saw her working at the bar. He cheated on Porsha a year prior. I agree. But with Porsha, if I see, because Porsha and Dennis been off and on for the whole time, right? If I saw the girl that you cheated on me with now rehired, please believe, like literally, please believe it would be a problem. I don't know. And I'll be fair to Porsha. I don't know any woman that'd be like, okay, that's cool. Also, I want to say hi to Miss Spicy Baby, our new member. Hi, how are you? Now, here's the thing about Go Naked Hair. It wasn't Go Naked Hair. Dennis had a hair company with an old girlfriend, and he sold the company, and he used the proceeds to invest in a lounge restaurant. And the girl was like, you were supposed to give me my proceeds back. And he was like, yeah, I'll just give it back. He basically tried to flip some money. The flip didn't come through. And now he's paying the girl back the money. I don't know if he's actually paid all the money back. But I have an interesting perspective. And let me know what you guys think about Dennis and Porsha. My sources are saying that, yes, Dennis can call himself a groupie, just like Simon. However, Porsha actually approaches the men she's with, holding her fame out as like a little bit of allure. If you guys have ever been down to Atlanta, there's a million beautiful girls, and each one is more beautiful than, it's like being in LA or New York, right? And there's people that have like clout and fame. Porsha uses that to add to her allure. She approaches men on some, we can be Bonnie and Clyde, we can build like, B and J, we can do this. We're literally, from what my source was saying, she really kind of just wants to be a stay-at-home mom. And if she does, God bless her. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. It's the hardest job in the world. It's so hard, right? Just so hard. It can drive you crazy. So, but she approaches men saying, no, I want to grind. I want to hustle. Let's both grind and let's build together. Dennis thought like, yeah, let's grind this out. Even when she said she was pregnant, she literally said with Dennis, let's try to see if we can make it work, and we can promote your businesses, and we can build, and we can do this and this and this. So that was kind of like one of the ways, almost like the way a rich man would use it to like bring a young, beautiful woman and keep her interested. So, I mean, what do you guys think about that? Do you see that, or do you just think people are hating?
No, I see it. And I believe it. I just think it's sad. To be honest, as a woman, to have to use your career as part of your allure to get a man, I think that's sad. I think that's very sad.
It is.
I mean, I agree with that, but also, you know, I don't think it's just for women. I think men do it too. I think there are men celebrities and public figures out there who are like, look who I am. And, you know, I think it's different. This is such a fine line when you're talking about somebody who's in the spotlight or a public figure, because they really don't know who's there for the right reasons or the wrong reasons. Are you coming in for your own gain? What is the situation? But maybe I'm different in this mind frame. I wouldn't care. Like right now I'm not with a celebrity, but if I were with a celebrity, I just in my mind would want to encourage and add to whatever the situation was and be a part of it, because it's exciting. Like, you know, I know this has nothing to do with anything, but I had nothing to watch over New Year's. Like Tisa, I wasn't feeling the best. So Tisa, I do hope you're feeling better. But I went on Peacock and I was streaming Bethany Ever After, Bethany Frankel, and seeing the moment when she sold her Skinny Girl brand for $100 million, and the situation and how drastically it changed with her husband, Jason Hoppy, at the time. He got completely insecure. He wanted to be a part of her business. He, you know, was punishing her for her success. There's so many different kinds of people who deal with this. This is not an easy avenue. Everyone probably thinks, oh my God, you're with a celebrity, that has to be so easy. But it can't be. Everyone's, you know, fighting for their attention. They're always in the press. You're going to be talked about. And there's so many different moving parts. Life is complicated as it is without having all of these eyes on you. So I think each situation is its own. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Makes sense. Grace, what do you think about this?
Yeah, like I agree with you all. And I do see that Porsha kind of might be proposing it, but like if someone is taking the bait, it means that they see the person as a celebrity as well. So, you know, again, Dennis to me tells on himself that these are the things that he sees in Porsha, and that these things align in the shakiness of his own relationship with Porsha and why it didn't really work out.
Yeah. And again, that's the weird thing about Dennis. It's like, how unlikable are these people that Dennis comes across as charming? Because in any other world, it's like that's your dirtbag ex. This is what I want to say. How comical was it that she said, Simon, you slept with your bartenders. Simon would never do that. Ma'am, Simon has 2 kids the same age, right? From 2 different women. And second of all, I did an interview with Fallon. It was an old interview. I did a year in highlight where one of the point of contentions about Simon and Fallon was Simon was sleeping with one of them. He only has 2 employees, and he was sleeping with one of them before he fired her. So I was just like, are you sure this is the hill you want to die on?
And not only that, first of all, you don't have a moving company on speed dial. Listen, we can all call like 2 guys in a moving truck, or like the college hunks moving company, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. Like, you pick up a phone. You know, if I found out tomorrow that I was in a relationship where someone was cheating on me, bet your ASS, I would have a moving company in my place tomorrow and have all of your stuff out. So there's nothing special about that. But to sit here and praise this man like, oh, Simon would never do that with his 3 marriages later and like moving. I mean, it reminded me of one of my favorite movies and this is going to, listen, I'm a huge Medea fan. Okay. So Diary of a Mad Black Woman was one of my favorite movies ever.
Hurt you,
ever.
Adam.
And it was,
hurt you.
I'm
I went to
telling
theater
you.
with my parents cracking up, huh?
I mean, my mom and I will watch it every Christmas and we love it. And it reminds me of like Dennis, or, you know, Simon, the way he's explaining it reminds me of when the girl gets kicked out of the house and the moving company shows up and like her lawyer husband has just moved her out of the house. And that's what it reminds me of. This is like the kind of persona he's giving off. I would not trust this man as far as I could throw him at all.
And don't forget, he's married and engaged at the same time.
At the same damn time. Yes. How do you do that? How do you do that?
And everyone's just acting like it's not there. I was like, wow, money is a hell of a drug, right? You'd be surprised. Now, I will say that like he's engaged, he's married at the same time. I was really impressed this episode at how good Dennis is at reading people, ingraining himself with people, hitting their spots and getting them kind of to react. Because even with Simon was like, you know, scarfing down his breakfast, and Dennis was like, oh, really? I'm moving. Yeah, ha, ha, ha. Like smacking hands and laughing. And meanwhile, Dennis is like, thank you for that information, you know? And he used it as a little bomb to drop someplace else. And Simon was so big on letting Dennis know, in my mind, because I looked at it as a male ego game. I know she seems like, I think Simon is embarrassed about the way Porsha is focused on Dennis. He knows it makes him look like what is going on, that she's even, again, hurt, resentment. But when you're happy, you're happy. You might even start complaining and they kiss you or you go do something. And you're like, yeah, you're right. This is bullshit. Let's just move on, right? They just make your mind just forget. So I do think it's funny that her focusing on Dennis, the only way Simon could exert himself as a man is to tell Dennis, yeah, I know Porsha's chasing after you, but don't worry, because when I'm done with her, right? When I'm done with her, I'm going to send her on her way too, like the other women. So it's like he was letting, again, maybe I was just reading too much. Did you think that Simon was low-key implying that it was a very transactional thing with Porsha and he wasn't looking at it like forever?
I would have to rewatch it, honestly. It's an interesting point, but I would have to rewatch it. I think Simon was just being cocky and thought it made him sound cool and sexy and like he could get any girl anytime. It was the vibe I got from it initially. And didn't realize that he put his foot in his mouth. Go ahead, Layla. Sorry.
It was a little bit of locker room talk, like guys bonding. And I don't know, Adam, what you think, but that's how I took it. Like this is how these guys are bonding about how they can just throw away women.
I mean, listen, I'm not a dude's dude, so I haven't like. But still, my conversations, I feel like are very different with my friends. But no, it did come off like that. It came off of kind of like a, you know, one of those like little rom-coms that you see where like the girl's hiding and she can hear through the ventilation system that the boyfriend's like, oh yeah, I'm going to get laid tonight. And then he comes out and he's like, babe, I love you. I was just saying that to my friends. It does come off like that a little bit, but there's something, and I can't put my finger on it. I don't know if he's just creepy on reality TV or what the situation is. I don't find Dennis to be creepy. I find him to be, you know, like, there's a lot of flaws there, right? But he's owning it somewhat. I mean, blaming Dom for being busted, that's not really owning it, but he's owning it somewhat. And I find him, there's a little bit of a charisma there. But for Simon, am I just like the only one who feels this, or do you guys too? Something just feels so off. I don't trust him. I don't believe him. And it's not biased because I did the Fallon interview or, you know, it's nothing like that, because I would have, if Simon called me, I would have sat down with him too. You know, but nothing like that. I just feel like there's something completely off. Somebody is in the wrong here, or maybe multiple people are. Maybe Porsha was trying to use Simon as a pawn to get back at Dennis. Simon was trying to use Porsha as a pawn to get back at Fallon. Then they got into this situation. A lot of people said it was for publicity. I said there's no way, nobody gets in a relationship for publicity. But then again, at this point, I don't even know. I mean, I'm more intrigued with the, you know, putting 20 on 10. I didn't even know that was a saying. Like that gets my morning time.
It was so cute.
Actually, guys, that's actually a really good point. Now, I think I can't agree with you, Adam. I find Simon completely trustworthy. I think he's super handsome. I think that, like, you know, God put Porsha. I'm just joking. Listen, we all know.
I was like, what?
It's the biggest fraud in the world. Listen,
I was like, the teeth are nice.
You guys see my interviews and the expose. I do find it as a fraud, but I find this as an interesting time capsule of reality TV, because at this point, Porsha really thinks she got with someone that's worth 400 million. And you see that cockiness and you see that thing. And you know how it is when somebody gets money, they truly show you how you truly feel. Maybe Porsha thought she had to play nice before, but now that like her man is worth 400 million, you know, it's time. Like she quit all her jobs. She don't care what anybody has to say about her. She's even distancing herself from Lauren and making people in her life feel less valued because she's like, go on, Lailah, what's that?
No, I was just going to say, when you mentioned, it's a small thing I noticed when you say distancing herself from Lauren. This is day 3 of the trip that we watched last night. And it seemed like the first day that Porsha came to Lauren's room because she was saying how nice it is. You know, you've been picking everybody, you got this nice room. And I feel like with my sister, like if we go to a resort, like day 1, I'm in your room. You know what I'm saying? I'm laying in your bed. Right? All of that. And so for 3 days to pass before she even goes to her sister's room, I just want to say I feel you on that. She is distancing herself from her own sister.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Which is always a red flag, like especially when it comes to sisters and brothers. Like your family is your family. But I agree with you. That's an interesting point. 3 days in, if it's your sister or even your good friend, you're going to be in the room looking through the room service menu, talking about should we go out to eat or should we order room service? You know, you get like, oh, this is nice.
Our room.
And I love how Porsha was upset about the room too. She's like, how do you have this big old room? She's like, I arranged the trip. It's not all about you, Porsha. I'm not going back home to a $3 million mansion like you are. Relax. I can have the little penthouse room with the view. It's fine. And
but also your man's worth 400 million. So honestly, why
I
aren't
don't
you
even
in
know.
a better room?
If you're worth 400 million, pay your escrow. Like, what do you mean 400 million? This is the craziest number to me ever. I worked for Lisa Vanderpump, who is allegedly worth 50 million. Yeah. One day, Jason and I had to go drop off something. I had to stay in the car, but Jason went in the gates. It's a glass mansion. It's beautiful. There's a moat. There's swans. There's ponies. She comes in with diamonds like out the wazoo. They're not fake. And that's 50 million. And you see every bit of 50 million. Every day it was a different car. It was the new latest model of the Rolls Royce. Like you see it all. But for Simon, I'm not getting, if that's 50 million and like a Kris Jenner is 400 million, I'm not getting 400 million here. Something is not connected.
It's posted on the internet. He posted on his Instagram saying I agree with you. Now I wanted to ask you guys this, right? What did you guys find it interesting when Porsha switched subjects and she talked about her relationship with her saying because Dennis's mom, Miss Gina, didn't apologize to her, then she's no longer a part of the family. And I'm like, girl, this is your daughter's grandmother. Like, what are you talking about? They're blood relatives. But 2, the part about when she changed the subject saying, well, you know, I remember my mom wasn't allowed to cross over into the threshold and it hurt me so much. And I thought that was interesting because I remember on Real Housewives, it popped in my head when Porsha and her mom were sitting around and they were actually kind of laughing at the fact that Lauren's mom was always trying to be friends with Porsha's mom and invite her over. But Porsha's mom was like, whatever. And also in her book, she goes on for 2 chapters saying about how it's the perfect blended family full of so much love. What did you guys think of her saying that now the family wasn't blended, but also 2, have you ever seen something like that when someone's literally trying to cut the grandmother out because there's like some type of argument? I don't know.
Well, I will say this. You do have to respect, you know, your child's grandmother, even if that's not your mother, like their other grandmother, you do have to respect it because it is blood, like you said. But Mama Gina said that Porsha's mom said that Porsha was cheating on Dennis. And I think that's like the hill that Porsha's dying on. I think that's why she's saying that. Like she'll never be in my family because she accused my mother of saying that I was cheating on Dennis, which is not true. Not true. You know what I mean? So I get where she was coming from with that. Like that's my daughter's family, but that's not my family. I do get where she was coming from on that because also with Mama Gina saying that in one case, in one scene, she sounded so sure about it. In another scene, she phrased it in a way that wasn't so sure. So it's like, it's not really clear. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So I did understand her point of view on that. I did.
I think, to be honest with you, with this situation, I feel like it's very immature of Porsha, but I feel like I can relate to it only because if I had a kid and, you know, like again, I'm going to just use my own relationship. If we had a child together and we weren't working out and not really getting along, but then Jason's mom was overbearing and really just like laughing at the expense of anything that was not going my way, and just, you could tell it was negative vibes, I would be like, you're not my family, you're my child's family. So my child can see you when my child is with that other person, with your son. That's when my child will see you. But as far as me, I don't need you in my personal space. And is that immature? Maybe. But also, I do believe energy really is infectious. So if you bring a bunch of people around, like if I fill Lailah's house or Grace's, hotel, because Grace is like a world traveler over there, or even I don't even know where you guys are at this point, but if I fill your guys' room with a negative energy, you'll feel it, and it's going to affect you, how you do daily, how you work. So for me, maybe it's immature, but I do agree with it. And Mama Gina does like when Porsha is uneasy. She gets off on it. So you can't expect anything different, Mama Gina. She's not going to sit there and be like, let's play White Elephant and have Christmas. It's no.
Hey, Grace, what about you? What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I could totally see why Porsha would be like, okay, this is my child's family, not my family, especially with she felt like she was being taunted at the whole dinner table thing with Dennis having a date and being out and everything like that. So I got it from that perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you guys make some really good points. I just want to switch topics really quick. Quinella Armstead said, congratulations for being a 4-month member, said, could it possibly be that as a businessman, they, meaning I guess Dennis and Porsha, brokered a deal for him? It only makes sense for Dennis to advertise on TV. Everything is not using. I mean, that could be it. Maybe they had an agreement like, we're going to get on this grind. I want to take opportunities. It's like if I had someone that's just like, listen, I really want to help you grow your YouTube channel. I'd be like, yes, thank you,
Yeah.
please. Of course, they would call me at 2 a.m. Tisa, get up, make this video. Okay, no problem. So I could see that it was a thing. But at the end of the day, I think you guys' point stands. Dennis was looking at Porsha as something to gain from as well, the same as Simon. The only difference is, Porsha and Dennis weren't engaged after a month. I think that's what made it so hard. If Porsha did not have Pilar, I think this month timeline, we could have stomached it a little bit more, because it's like you met a person.
Yeah.
Come on, Lailah, what's your opinion of that?
I'm glad you mentioned that, because, it's coming up like Dennis saying that Portia's a bad mom, right? And I don't judge people. I never want to put that label bad mom on someone. But when you have a child and then you tell someone else, this is your new stepfather, this is an authority figure for you, and you only know them a month, it's a problem with that. I have a problem, to be honest, my personal opinion, I do have a problem with Portia's parenting and telling her daughter that this is your stepfather within a month of allegedly within a month of meeting this man. I do have a problem with that as a parent.
And a little girl that can't really,
really
little girls or boys, I feel like you got to be careful about that stuff. Forget about anything that's of a sexual nature. What if this person is very punishing? What if they're very harsh? What if they're very cruel? Like, there's other things that can happen besides the sexual nature to little kids. Like, you got to be, you can't leave your kid with everyone. You damn sure can't leave your kid with everyone. So
you legitimate, and I want to say this as from experience of being a stepchild and my parents having so many step parents. When I would go stay with my mom for the summer, it happened twice where I would come home and I would move into my house. There was new paint. There was a new woman. And she's like, I'm your new mom. It happened one time where she said, I'm your new mom. And she asked me when I moved in and I met her, I don't want to say her name, but she's like, are you ready for a life of rules and regulations? And I started crying. I was 12 years old. And she's like, she was telling me the rules about when I'm going to see my mom. And she was so abusive. And she knew that I wasn't, a big eater. So she would punish me with food. And she would, like, if we had a pizza night, she would make me chili because I don't like like there were things that she would do in order to punish me. And my dad works so much. So when I would call my dad and say, this is happening, he wouldn't believe me. And she would say to him, she'd be like, your son's making this up because he wants you to be with his mom. And I understand where he's coming from, but this is not true. And I'm like, Dad, just listen. But he didn't know because he jumped the gun and decided to move in somebody that he didn't actually know, brought her into the family, and now she's playing mom role. And then I'm dealing with the ramifications of it. Same thing with Pilar. Like, you don't know who you're moving into your house. And I think as a parent, I'm not a parent, but you should be very, like, your senses should be heightened. You should want to know, does this person have an abusive past? How does he do? I would be watching, if I had a kid and I was bringing somebody in, I would be watching their every move and reaction. If they're sly, sarcastic, whatever, because it's going to be this big when I'm around. And then when I leave my kid with that person, it's going to go to here. And I would install nanny cams. I would catch your ASS.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Adam. That's so traumatic.
I'm sorry that happened to you. And you're right. You have to be careful because it only takes one time for there to be horrible memories that you have to. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but once you reach a certain age, you start unpacking all the BS it ran out, you ran from in your life. So it's kind of like, just a little bit more vigilance, I'm so sorry that happened to you. And that's.
Oh, no, I mean, everyone's now saying in the live chat, Adam, are you in therapy? No, I'm not in therapy, but no, listen, it stuck with me for a long time. Like, I remember one time, even when my dad was gone, and she kept telling my dad, your son's gay. And he's like, don't call my son gay. And then she called me the F word and dumped tea on my face. And like, it was a whole thing. And she was the meanest. It was, no, my God, this woman, like, crazy, beyond crazy. And
oh my God,
you just really, that's my whole point, is like, you really don't know who you're inviting into your house. We watch like these Lifetime movies, or maybe I just do, where you see like these crazy incidences. These things happen. People are crazy. You don't know this person, especially not after a month, to bring him in and be like, here, be around my young daughter. You don't know what he's capable of. And then the baby daddy is being accused of being a Pedialyte bear and animals. No.
It's a mess.
Grace, would you want to weigh in on this?
Honestly, it makes you wonder why it's not brought up as a storyline. Dennis's only issue with it seems to be like that he's pissed that Porsha moved on after all of this, versus like, he's concerns about his daughter. He's never really talked to, as far as I remember, what's his name, Simon, about anything from a Pilar perspective. It's mainly just like his own relationship with Porsha, not really, you know what I mean? So it isn't like, did Porsha not want it to be brought up, and like all of that stuff being brought into question, because it is very serious, right?
That's a good point. How come we didn't see, and again, it could have been editing, or it could have been what we saw. That's a good point. Why didn't we see like a little summit of three people sitting down and talking about Pilar, parenting style, just anything? I mean, I don't know how people, but just anything. So that's an interesting point. That would have been a good storyline. But again, I'm just so shocked at how the show turned so dark last episode. And I get the resentment that Porsha has against Dennis. I get it, because I remember my heart broke for her when he embarrassed the dog mess out of her over and over and over. But again, it's still giving, and let me know if I'm wrong, it's still giving bitter, because when I'm happy, I don't care about anything that used to make me cry. It's only when things aren't going so well that I'm like, oh, let me think about the 10 other things that hurt my feelings. But when I'm happy, I'm like, life's a party, let's go. So it just, I don't know. But and again, I know I keep asking this, but does Porsha strike you as a woman in love? She may well be, but does she strike you as a woman deeply in love?
I almost want to say that when you're in love, you stop comparing. Like, you're deeply in love, you're only thinking about this one person. And the fact that even in the midst of their conversation, her conversation with Dennis, and she's telling Dennis, well, Simon would never do that. And you see her comparing the two, that lets you know that she's not really in love. She's still in a mind frame of winning, of comparing the two and saying, I'm winning because I got him and he would never do that. You know what I mean? So I don't see Porsha as being in love with Simon. No.
I agree.
They can't even sell it to us. I think I think if we put our minds to it and the price was right, we could make a legitimate case for being sister wives to Adam. If it was like, how much are we getting paid? A few million each. Hi, darling. It's like, I'm sure we could make a convincing case somehow. And the fact that these people, all you have to do is sell us on the fact that you guys like to touch each other and that you guys enjoy each other's company. That's all you have to sell us on. And we're just like, I'm with Lailah. She's like, yeah, not buying it. You guys, what do you think of that?
I don't think any of them are really all that happy in their lives. They all seem to just be like, that's why the show is not a good idea for Porsha. On our HOA, she would have been dragged by her usual enemies or whatever. And then there would have been so many other different storylines going on. But this show just focuses on how big of a sham this relationship is. Like we started off with Simon talking to some of the relatives and the sister and them admitting that it all happened too soon, that it's shaky, all of that. Later at the tequila, they reveal even more about how it all happened so soon. It was Dennis and Porsha. All of a sudden, it's Porsha and Simon. No one around her seems to believe in this relationship at all, and it's just embarrassing at this point. It's crazy that she did this. I don't know. It's sad. It's sad.
That's a good thing where you're like, it's just embarrassing. Right?
Yeah.
It's just like you're getting secondhand embarrassment just watching. Like, girl, stop. Adam, what's your weighing on this?
I mean, the whole situation, I'm lost. I'm lost for words. I don't think that I agree with Grace. I think that nobody's in love at this point. I think, if anything, it's enamored. It's a lifestyle. You're being presented with this idea. It's like me showing you the golden egg and thinking that you can have it all. But what does that come with at the expense of what? Like laying in bed with the new veneers, or what does this cost you in order to make this lifestyle a thing? Because, I even say this I'm always using, Jason is going to kill me. I swear he's going to kill me. But, even when I lived in LA, I dated 2 different people who were public figures. And when I did, I was so unhappy. I was in a very tumultuous relationship. And sure, if I stayed, and I could have stayed, would I have had a better, a more financially free life? Yeah, but that wasn't it for me. And I always wanted to be independent on my own, but I can see why that's exciting. And I have friends who are in situations because it's appealing. It's appealing to be taken care of and know that you have that security. I feel like for Porsha, that's what she wants. Like, Porsha knows there's a timeline on reality television. What do I do next? Is it Pamper by Porsha that's going to pay my bills for the rest of my life and pay for this mansion? Is it maybe going back to the Ricky Smiley morning show? Is it Go Naked Hair? Or is it going to be a man who's worth allegedly a crap ton of money? Is he going to do it? And for Porsha, I think she's trying to figure out, I need stability. Who is it? Maybe right now it's Simon. But I don't think that's love. That's stability.
Yeah, there's something there. I do want to thank Vlog Media Breeze for the super chat. You say, hi, panel. For years, I've recapped that Porsha is a narcissist, and now it is showing up for everyone else to see outside their dislike for Kenya. Listen, I always like Kenya, but I'll be honest with you guys. I used to enjoy Porsha too. I never saw her as the pillar, but I look at Roll Hall as an ensemble. To a certain point when the cast is good, I'm like, you guys all bring something. So to Grace's point, it's really disappointing. And also, I know she is kicking herself for actually going on the show, because on Real Housewives, they would have dragged her, but you still would have had your own little bubble where the producers give you a good edit and you could have moved past this wave. And now you have no one. And each episode, I'm like, how can you get even worse? How can you get, now you're spoiled, entitled, don't care about your sister. Your sister's talking about her life's work and really upset. And Lauren's been there for you. And you're just like, girl, I could have been getting a drink downstairs with my man. And Lauren looked at her like she slapped her,
yeah. And you got your cousin fired?
Yeah.
Come on.
Horrible.
I think Porsha honestly looked at doing the show too as the lesser of 2 evils. We all know that Marlo Hampton and Kenya Moore, they were going to eat her alive, right? They were. She was going to film, and they were very, public about it on social media. So I think in her mind, she was like, when this opportunity arose, she was, I don't even know if arose is a word, but whatever. When that came up, she was probably like, listen, I'm going to take this one. But it came back to bite her in the butt, because you're exposing more of yourself. Where Tisa just said, you could have been in your little bubble. You could have combated, with Kenya and Marlo and been like, girl, mind your own business. This has nothing to do with you. You're just mad because you're going through a divorce and you're dating anybody who pays for your next Chanel bag. She could have clapped back. It would have been funny and we would have been here for it. But now that 100% of the attention is on you, I don't think she knows how to manage that.
Yeah. Wrong road. You put the wrong road with this.
Yeah, you picked the wrong road.
Definitely. So Princess Di, thank you so much for the super chat. You said, Adam, just tell her name and location. We just want to talk to her. You have people ready to roll out to your ex-stepmother's house, right? We just want to
My
talk.
mom already beat her up, Princess Di, but thank you.
Okay, good.
My mom flew from Florida to Tennessee, knocked on the door, and I was at school. But I was telling my mom all the stories, and finally she had enough. I didn't even know she was coming, and she did.
It's so cute.
Yeah. Exactly. Also, I just want to see, TJ, we missed your live chat, but you said, congratulations for being a member for 2 months. You said, did you notice a scene where this is really important. We're going to touch on this, and then I want to hear what you guys have going on, because I know you guys are all super busy, and we'll let you know whose channel we're going to be on next week. But TJ said, did you notice the scene where the aunt and Dennis's mom were talking about being a family, and the aunt told her she can be a part of the Williams side?
The real ones, Hosea Williams.
The real ones. I caught that too. It's amazing to me, which makes me think that maybe Dennis is a piece of work and he's a handful. But if you are his family and you don't expect anything romantic from him, he's a very loving guy. Because the way her father's side of her family, Lauren's side of her family, have really embraced Dennis and look at him as like he's like a stand-up guy and really include him and look to him. They look at him as family. I'm like, this says something about Dennis and how loving he is when you don't expect him to be faithful to you, you know? So, yeah.
Okay. That's a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
That's a lot of minutes.
To me, it's just more proof that like men can get away with anything. You know, there's like the saying that like in like some families, I don't know if it's specifically Black families, but they love their sons and raise their daughters. It's like the men can do whatever, treat you like garbage, like disrespect their own family, their own pregnant, right? Like, and then you're still going to be loving and kind to them, please. By the way, speaking of like little, right? Screw men. Speaking of those little gems, did you guys notice Lauren, her distress over the thought of Dennis moving? Wasn't that interesting?
Oh, yeah. Yes. But do you think that's because Porsha charged her with babysitting Dennis and she wasn't doing her job?
I think she's also babysitting Porsha. She's babysitting the both of them. And she's like, no, you can't move. Like, I'm trying to manage the situation.
She's trying to get kittens to go into a bag, right? Every time she got one, the other one was like, yeah. That was an interesting moment. Grace, Layla and Adam, what also were your like really good takeaway moments? I'm actually interested because what the episode was dark, no doubt, but there was some enjoyable, like the tequila, like you said, Layla. Those tequila, I would have had half a shot because after too many shots of tequila, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go throw up now. And he's like, it's only been 20 minutes. I know, but I'll be back. Yeah. But the tequila tasting, the way that he even with Dom was, let's fight. And it was just like a funny get together where it's like, yeah, we got beef, but there's love here. We're just going to sit here and laugh and poke at each other. But there's a lot of love at the table. What was also some of your key takeaway moments in this stuff?
Ladies first.
Oh, I got a good one, you guys. When Porsha was rounding everybody out and she said that you could take your SLUTSs. And I was like, sis, you are engaged to your former coworker, like, you know, acquaintances, man. You creeped into his DMs. And at the time, I think they were still married. And you're calling women the S words? Okay.
I mean, again, it's usually those people that do it. Usually the most judgmental people are the ones that got the most skeletons in their closet. Like, you're the one lecturing me? So come on.
Okay, so Grace sent us the link to the girl that came to the resort. Erica, I believe her name is. And I was looking at her Instagram. And can I just say, I kind of liked her. Like, I liked her vibe.
She was a cutie.
Yeah, she was cute. You didn't see anything messy on her page. She doesn't have Porsha, Dennis, none of that. Even the altercation, she didn't mention any of that. She seemed like a cute girl.
She did. She seemed really likable. Like, I would want to be Erica's friend. She's like, have a good time. She's super pretty. You know, she's about that fitness life. She actually, her feed was a nice feed. And she did seem that unproblematic. But I did get that feeling too. That part of the reason she's unproblematic is because she knows how to put people in their place. Like, I'm unproblematic because I don't got to worry about anybody getting under my skin. But no, Erica, She definitely had a
I feel like she probably had the best time. Like she's walking around in her thong bikini. She's not having to film. Everyone else is fighting. Like she's having a good. Honestly, I would want to be in her position more than anybody's position here, if I were in Mexico on this trip. And one thing that I wondered, only because my experience being around like the Vanderpump Rules cast and how production, I would watch them and producers would talk and manipulate situations. I always think about it with that kind of cap on. And I was wondering, did they pre-produce and manipulate the situation where Dennis was 2 doors down from Simon and Porsha? Or was that just a resort thing and like that's how it happened? But it made I did definitely question that.
Yeah. They produce everything.
Yeah, they produce everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and Porsha and Porsha and Dennis, I would say they are in a Cold War where they are both trying to get under each other's skin. So I can see Dennis walking outside all loud in the morning, and Portia's like putting her makeup on, just grimacing, I hope it was a producer, because if it was me, I'd have been like, no, can you put me on a different floor? Because we know that Simon didn't put Porsha in the penthouse or the penthouse floors. So you could have moved to a different floor. I'm just saying, you were under the general civilian, no VIP.
No upgrade. No upgrade. No.
Where is she though? Why don't we see her? This is a reality show. We need the drama. I want to see Porsha running into her, meeting her. Like, where's the scene there?
Yeah, I agree with that.
I would love to see that. I would love to see her prancing around her little bikini thong and Porsha running into her. But you know what? It might be another altercation.
I think it would, because
that's stupid.
No, here's the thing. I think I'm very, very mature. When I was in high school, we all were like little scrappers. But as you get older, you're like, I'm not. Like, I can't. I'm just not going to let anyone take me out of character. But the way Porsha was screaming, "You and your S's, get out of here. Go, go." That was boiling my blood. Like, I would have taken my self-control to be like, I'm leaving. I would have had to just get up and walk out, because it was just like it was just so antagonizing. Now, what do you guys say about this, right? Right now, we are on the 5th episode. It is a mystery how many episodes this show is going to be. Yeah. What do you say about the fact that they haven't released the trailer for next week? Porsha did say they filmed a new scene. Maybe they're re-editing it. But what do you guys think is going on with that? Have you guys heard anything about how many more episodes it is going to be? It is a mystery at this point what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think B. Scott said like somewhere from 6 to 8. He gave a number. I remember I put it in our group chat. I forgot what it was, but it was somewhere between 6 to 8. But I did notice that there was no trailer too. I was like, where is that trailer? So I don't know.
But they got our attention. So good job, guys. Because I was like, I'll be tuning in next week. No trailer needed. So kudos to you guys. So really quick, before we go, you guys, we are doing this every Monday until the show wraps up. Next Monday at 12:30 p.m., we are going to be on Lailah's Up and Adam. We're going to be on Up. Sorry, that usually I remember, but that hiatus, my whole mind was just like, what are rules? So we're going to be on Up and Adam's channel next Monday at 12:30 p.m. You guys, make sure you join us. That is going to be the episode. We are finally going to get some clarity on who, what. We might even see a cameo by Erica. But before we go, you guys, why don't you let me know and let the Tattle Tells and your viewers know what you guys have coming up this week? Anything exciting? Anything you guys want to talk about? Please, the floor is yours.
I don't know, you guys. Just getting back into the swing of things. I was off for the holidays, like on vacation or whatever. So now I'm kind of just like getting my bearings back. So getting back into the schedule, continuing on with my merch line. And that's about it for now. Yeah.
All right.
It's some merch.
I'll definitely put a link to Grace's merch in the description box. If you guys are watching this on playback, that'll be there for you guys to find. And also link to everybody's channel. And also, Lailah, what do you have planning up?
Well, I kind of take it day by day with the hot tea, but I do have coming up some Jussie Smollett, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Some updates on his family, not just him, but I have some. People want to know what happened to that family.
I have a confession. He was my celebrity crush when Empire came out, and when he would start singing, and even though it was auto-tuned, I was like, Jason, I'm leaving you. I love this guy. And then when all that came out, I was like, oh no. Okay. You know.
Empire and Medea, Adam.
Yes. No, I
don't even watch
listen,
that
I
stuff.
swear it was Empire, Medea, Love and Hip Hop, and probably Wives with Knives, if not Housewives. So
Oh my
it's
God.
Okay.
weird. I'm a very eclectic person. Okay.
Okay,
I
and
love
Adam, what do you have planned coming up? Anything you want to share with us?
Yeah, I have actually 2 really exciting interviews coming up. I'm going to be doing a sit down with Jen Shah, which
Congratulations!
thank you. That'll be after the reunion because Bravo has stopped all press until then for the Salt Lake City women. And then also I have another interview with a super messy divorce that's going on in Orange County coming up too. So
Noella's divorce, or
yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'm excited about both of those, but kicking off the new year, I always love doing lives and I don't do enough of them on my show. I always do pre-records and sometimes I bust out like 8 to 10 a day and I'm like, so doing lives is kind of, I wanted to get back into it. So I kicked off my first Monday of the new year with my new morning show called Wake Up and Adam, where you can wake up with me at 9:30 Eastern. And it's more of like a personal stories with some Bravo scandals, but just a completely different energy. Like when I wake up, I'm like a machine gun and it doesn't stop. I've had so much espresso and I'm a lot of energy. So if you guys are up at 9:30 and you want to wake up with me, well, I'm here.
Definitely.
Nice.
So you
I
guys
love that.
heard it. Grace is going to keep delivering the amazing content that she is known and loved for. And there will be a link to her merch. Her merch is actually pretty cute. So you guys make sure you take a look at it. Layla is doing what? Listen, I love Layla's exposés. I saw the deep dive you did into the Crazy Bone. Was it Crazy Bone?
Oh yeah, no,
Busy Bone.
Busy
Bone. And I actually thought that was so, because I had heard, little tidbits, but you did such a good job of like wrapping everything together and being like, oh man, and really just, it was a really actually pretty moving thing. So you guys go watch her expose on that. But Layla, when she does her deep dives, is really, really good. And she always comes with stuff. If you're like, I forgot about that. Ooh, good one.
Yeah.
And also, of course, up in Adam, you're doing Jen Shah. You have something coming up with the OC, Noella. And also you are launching Waking Up with Adam at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Go and tune into his channel. He's getting back into the live thing. But you guys see Adam. He is a ball of laughs. So I'm sure it's going to be an amazing thing. So make sure you check it out. Links to everybody will be in my description box. Tattle Tells, my channel will be moving. Well, whatever. I'm going to hit you guys over the head in every video. You guys are going to get updates on what I plan to do with my channel. So don't worry, you guys. You'll see it. But anyway, I just wanted to thank you guys for joining so much. Adam, Layla, and Grace, thank you so much for putting this panel together and actually including me. I so much appreciate it. And you guys are just always so fun and cool to hang around with. Okay. So
thank you.
Thank you guys. And thank you guys. Yes. Thank you guys for taking us. It's like an hour and a half. It always flies by, but thank you so much, Tattle Tells, for even rocking and staying with us. Because again, listen, the talent's here. You guys just came and listened. The talent's here. So thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you guys. All right.
All right.
Bye, everybody.